Welcome to this lesson. We are going to cover the starting requirements, what and where to work. So, this is what you need to get started. You either need a laptop or a PC. You need also a smartphone. You need stable internet connection, which is at least 5 Mbps, desk and chair, quiet place, and writing materials, which include notebooks, pens, etc. So for a computer, laptop or PC, they fall into this category. And whether you know what everything means, getting the right laptop for you is not that easy. And the key things to look out for are the operating system, that is the OS, the processors, the number of processors that are there, a graphics card, RAM, storage space, type of screen and their sizes, available ports, and webcams. So for the operating system, there are currently Windows, Mac, Chrome, and Linux. So they're important since they dictate what programs that you can install, where and what level operating computer systems that you need to have to use it. So here we recommend Windows OS because it gives you access to powerful programs that are essential for your work, such as Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, Publisher, Access, and Outlook. So these are the main programs that you are going to need if you are starting a solopreneur entrepreneurship journey. It is going to cover like 90% or 80 to 90% of your needs. And Windows OS also has the largest number of laptops and PC builds that you can choose from than any other OS out there. So this gives you more flexibility and gives you even more choices across budgets and operationability. And so we say the more you have, the more you have, the better. And for the processors, this is dependent on the the operating system that you choose. So, but Intel and AMD make most consumer CPUs. For Apple processors, this is for Apple products, and they're very simple in terms of naming a series power. Uh, for example, Intel and AMD, they are mostly associated with the Windows and Windows OS and Linux and Chrome. But for Apple processors, they have their M1, M2, and M3 chip. But here we recommend Intel and AMD 5 series and 8 generations and newer. For example, Core i5, Core i5 is equals to AMD Ryzen 5000. So for any series, for Core i5, that is 5, AMD means 5000 and above. And then any number that comes from the 5000, it marks the generation. For example, for Core i5 8th generation, that is a very good and it's going to last even longer. And it's going also to be a faster machine. So you should balance between performance and budget and the future needs of your business. But you should start low, yeah. So if it is possible, start low, because when you start low, it gives you flexibility and the ability to grow as you grow your business. So, but for the processors, make sure that it is from 8th generation and above, meaning that it has 8 processors, that is 8 cores, which will give you faster speeds, faster processing, and even more power. And for storage, we recommend that you have a minimum of 4 to 8 GB, because the more power you have, the better. But you should balance, it should be a balance between the RAM and the ROM. That is a random access memory, and random operating memory. So for ROM, this is where you store your files and programs, and all the programs are supposed to be running on a SSD for faster rendering. And we recommend that if you're using an SSD or a HDD, make sure that all the program files they are running on an SSD, solid state disk, and your files can be stored in a HDD, hard disk drive, and it will work just fine. Okay, and this improves performance and also the workload. So when you're making your choice, you are supposed to narrow down. So once you have narrowed down to a few laptop models, read reviews online and make a purchase from a trusted dealer near you. And make sure that you take a warrant, which is supposed to be around 6 months to 1 year or 2 years, depending if you're going to buy a refurbished or a new laptop. But you don't have a say or a hard line on whether you should take a refurbished or a new laptop. It depends on the budget that you have, and this also goes on the desktop. So if you're going to have a workstation, make sure you can have a workstation or a small form factor desktop. And for small form factor desktop, we have mini PCs and ready-made or a pre-built computer system. And so uh, or if you are starting out, we would recommend you starting with a small factor computer desktop. And for the laptop, just ensure that you have had well what we have discussed earlier on. So make sure that you take a warrant with you just in case you need to return it due to malfunctioning or it breaks when you have it. The screen should be at least 13-inch. We recommend you don't take the touch screen. Go for non-touch with an aspect ratio of 16 by 9 and at least 1080p image resolution for your most tasks. However, touch screen they tend to be less durable than non-touch in my experience, and they are less likely to break as most touch screen laptops are frameless. So most touch screen laptops they are frameless, which means they have more services to break. In my case, I don't like them. I have used them and they break. But for the non-touch, I have not had any issues with them, and that's why I'm recommending them. So for a smartphone, this is another key area that you're supposed to have. Have a smartphone and you can use what you have now. But the basic rule is that you should have the ability to take good photos, run crucial apps, browse, communicate online, and be with you as an extension of your business. However, there is one thing that I have noticed. Some some smartphones they don't have the ability to have an external AUX microphone. So you are stuck with the onboard microphone, which makes it hard for you to have those clear and crisp communication with your clients, or when you are recording or a walkthrough into the project, or you want to record anything and you need good audio. So when you're going to buy, make sure you test and have that in mind. So with the hardware and software, with the hardware aside, then where do you work? So as a freelancer or as a solopreneur, you can work from the following three places. One, you can work from your home. This where you have a dedicated place in your home where you can work from. Also, you can work from a dedicated office. This is where you maybe if you have a small extra income or that you can use, you can rent an office or an office space and dedicate all your work there. And this is very good if you have kids in your house. Maybe you have problem concentrating. Having a dedicated office is a good way of solving this. And one thing that cuts across is that you also need to have an area that is free of distractions. So when you're starting out, you need to work from home to cut off the expenses of renting out an office space, because your business is not yet uh, making anything, and it has not even broken even. And so you need to cut the expenses as much as possible. But once you have grown some customer base and you need a physical location where your customers can come for demos and appointments, you can rent a small office for yourself only. And as you grow, you can incorporate an office also for your personal assistant and progress further from there. That is, if you want to grow and leverage from a solopreneurship to a small business. Okay, and lastly, but if you have clients, maybe your work includes visiting them, working with their teams, you can work from the client's location, and you can, in that case, it will be easier to work from their place of work, since you have more flexibility, and also they will be cutting your cost, and unless you packed up somewhere. Okay. And there are key things to look out for uh, at workspace. One, the place needs to be quiet and free from noise disruptions. It needs to be free from visual distractions. That is, it should be away from windows, but maybe most of us need that light. We need that light, but make sure you have zero distractions, because it will be taking away from your work than bringing in. Then there needs to be a stable internet connection, which has to be a minimum of 5 mega, megabytes per second. And you should also have a comfortable desk and office chair, since you'll be working sitting down most of the time, which is approximately 6 to 12 hours daily. So you need a comfortable chair and a table. You should also have an ample storage for your writing materials and enough room for sunlight. Okay, and you need also to have communication device or phone that is dedicated for office work only. So we are we are trying to say that you should have two phones, or have a phone at your workplace, which is dedicated solely for work, and one for your personal stuff, that is for, so that you can separate work and life. Okay. And then your working space, if you're working from home, it should be different from your living space, so that you can separate between your normal life and living. One area, when I was starting out, I used to stay in a studio apartment. So here where I stay, where I'm from, we call them bed sitters. So it is just a one room with everything, your bed, your chair, everything. So I had a problem concentrating, or when I wanted to sleep, I couldn't sleep well, because there was a subconscious interruption or distraction where I always felt that I was in a constant mode of grinding. I was in work mode almost like all 24 hours. Yes, 24 hours. I would sleep, and when I wake up, I feel like I have to work. When I'm working and there's a TV on there, even if I want to watch it, I feel I'm supposed to be working. It is a good and bad thing, but you should leverage on that. Make sure that your workspace is different from your living space or from your sleeping place. I don't want you to have those distractions and all of the problems that I used to have. Okay, so what are the key takeaways from this lesson? One is that you don't need fancy things and workstation to get started. Forget the tutorials on YouTube on how to set your office space. Those are just going to be broadcast to prevent you from getting started. Just have use what you have to get what you want. So the laptop and PC that you choose should suit your current and future needs and upgrade as needed. But laptop or a PC is a necessity. You can work from anywhere as long as you have stable internet connection and your writing tools. are there. That is your computer, smartphone, and notebooks. Those are your tools. They must be there. And lastly, good working environment boosts your productivity and looks at your overall health. So take a look at that and ensure that your workspace is okay. See you in the next class.